Good morning. This is Carolyn Borba, and I am going to be doing an assignment on artistic worship. And because I do not have a group here at this moment, what I would like to do is to explain what I feel is very important in artistic worship. We have a video of artistic worship and a lot of information. But for the beginning of artistic worship, because what it means is that we are entering into His presence. We are entering into the presence of the Holy One. And in order to do that, and I always think about the attendees who are coming to the conference, and how the very first thing that needs to be done, as Monito would say, is we need to pray. We need to really pray that God will not only anoint the artistic worship, but that He will be there in the presence of these people. Because with artistic worship, we are normally in one room, or even if it is a church, the sanctuary or wherever this is being held needs to be prepared first. It needs to be laid in prayer and prepared before anyone arrives. So I think one of the things that would be great at a door, I'm going to use this for an illustration, but at the door it would be great to have a greeter, because whoever is leading the artistic worship, they cannot be handling new people coming in the door. And when people come into a conference, normally we begin with this artistic worship. So remember, these people are coming from, many have driven hours and hours to get there, so they're tired and they're in a location that they're not familiar with. And other people fly, and again, you know, it's hours of travel. And even for the local people, they may be coming into an atmosphere they're not familiar with. But those of us who teach, or those of us who have experienced this artistic worship, we know what the great outcome is. So for those who are beginning to arrive, having a person at the door to greet them, to help them to just enter into the presence of the anointing of that room, I think is very important. So in this case, we are going to agree that we have several people. Well, we're going to have at least 8 people standing in the center of this room, and they are going to be using billow claws. So they would be here, and with billow claws we need a person here, we need a person here, we need a person here, and we need a person over here. So the billow claws seem to, they array the room with almost like an aroma because of the beauty and the silence of that beauty. We use color, but it's the movement as they go up in the air and come down. So it's significant for these people who are holding those billow claws to understand that it's not with speed they're done, but it's with a rhythm, because the people entering in are going to see that before they see anything else. So they'll be in the center of the room. Then the next people who arrive, and they come in not always at the same time, so when they come in, then they would be being entered in, and we ask them to put their things to the side and to immediately become part of the activities. So the next thing that would happen is we would have a circle holding hands going around. These are people who have never met one another before. And the beauty of it is they just start to enter in with these people like they've known them forever, because they're all there under the anointing of the worshiping and the prayer that was done beforehand. So we'll have this group of people going around in a circle, and we'll have, if there are men, I always like to see them with a flag, because they're powerful and they can move around in the room. But as far as having a handout other than a flag or a billow cloth, Really, there's no real need for that, because these people are really coming into an area where they're bonding with people. So the music, which is also playing in the background right now, is not music that overwhelms them. It's music they know is there, but they still are interacting with all these other people. And then as the rhythm starts to move, when they are in this circle moving around and the rhythm starts to get into their spirit, like that music right now is doing, then the music becomes very apparent to them that it's there, and people start to worship. So for those people who are not in this circle, we might ask them on the outside, we may ask those people to just start worshiping freely. Just raise your arms and worship. Just worship the Lord. And then there are people who brought their own flags. Now they would be down in this area where they can just freely move around with their flags until there is a significant shift in the room. And what I mean by that is that the shift happens when people really enter in to the presence of the Lord that is there in that room. So at this point we have the people doing the billows, we have those circling around that have entered the room, we have people with flags in every corner. It's almost like, for me, I'm always calling it warfare, because what they're doing is we're ushering in, but we're also protecting the corners where the enemy does not enter into that room and distract people. So we have flags then on the corners, and we have the circle, and we have the billows in the center. And we have these people down at the end that are just worshiping kind of with their flags. So then we might have one person, two, I'd say depending on the room. We'll say that this room is large enough, so we'll have two people in this group down that are holding the flags, and we're going to have them, two of those people, start to do a movement that we show them, a movement of just holding their arms up for a period of time, or then worshiping like this, or in holiness to the Lord, and making those moves simple and rhythmic so that these people behind them can follow them. And so as they begin to follow them, then pretty soon you will see these people that are in the circle, they want to enter into this. Because it's a movement, even though it's slow, it's a movement that draws people into worship. And no matter who they are or where they came from or what they had on their mind when they arrived, by now those people are in the presence of the Lord and they are worshiping. And that artistic worship is, to me, the most important thing in the beginning that happens there. And from artistic worship, because of how these people have entered into the presence of the Lord, then you could easily move into prophetic worship, which is another subject. But the point of it is that artistic worship is to enter into the presence of the Holy One. So the preparation of the prayer, preparing the room, having the people in the center to start with, where the attendees are being drawn in and leaving the world behind. It's a beautiful experience. Thank you.